This show is brought to you by... Are you ready to take your show to the next level? Look no further than Podcast Base Plus, your all-in-one solution for video podcasting success. At Podcast Base Plus, we don't just film and edit your show. We offer a full-service experience that sets us apart from the rest. With Podcast Base Plus, you can focus on what you love, creating exceptional content while we handle the technicalities behind the scenes. So why settle for anything less? Step into the future of podcasting with Podcast Base Plus. Elevate your podcast today. Visit our website or call to book now.
Should a person's romantic past have any influence on their current dating life?
I think that it's impossible not to carry any type of
Baggage.
from past. 'Cause people don't know how to let go, and some people don't know how to recreate. So a lot of times it's almost human nature to carry on the same stuff from a past relationship to the new relationship. And that's why I always say, give yourself a good break in between relationships so you can work that kind of stuff out.
So honestly, this was like a nice way of asking if the person had a reputation being a hoe, male or female, should it have any influence on their current dating situation?
Absolutely. If there, I mean, come on, let's just keep it real.
Ricky, like,
You would think it would,
But it
most
rumors travel, reputations travel, right? So some people can't let that go.
Right.
So I think if you had ample time in between your whole phase and your womanhood or manhood, whatever, I think sometimes that erases it a little bit. If you have enough of past behavior that's not the same as that bad behavior, if that makes sense. Like it needs to be some time in between. You can't just been home on Monday and like I changed my life and thinking I'm
what if it's been a month?
no ma'am.
That's not enough.
I think it depends on what level, what's a hoe. Like
Very promiscuous, dating.
Everybody has
Has
their
sex.
definition of
Yeah,
what a
that's,
hoe
everybody
is.
has
Okay,
their
so hold
own
on.
definition.
What is your definition of a hoe?
I think a hoe is somebody that is strolling and getting that money, and every 5 minutes they with a different man in a car.
So like a prostitute.
Like a prostitute. But no,
That's a
that could
wide
be-
ranging
that could be a
definition. That's a very wide.
range.
Yeah,
That's
it
to
is.
each his own.
Everybody,
Yeah.
I know people that say, hey, if you had more than one man, if you had two men in the same 30 days, you a hoe. And it just depends on, I don't always like calling everybody no hoe.
Hoe.
You know what I mean? But I do believe that you got to go to some form of hoe phase in order to appreciate a good man or a good woman.
I mean, I went through a
I'm
whole
just saying
phase,
that.
just nobody
No.
knew.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have people though that go through that phase and
because they continue in that behavior, ain't nothing changed.
Yeah.
So it's like you still being a hoe out here.
Right,
So
but then you got some people that don't know how to stop judging people and allow people to grow.
That too.
Well, again, like I said, that come with benefits, and it depends.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends on what
But
you
back to the judging part, I'm gonna judge you if me and you are entering a relationship. There's gonna be some judgment there because I have to take a lot of things in consideration because I care for myself. So I'm gonna judge you.
Well, body
We need to be
count don't count
parallel.
as your health status for me.
Yeah.
I don't want to count. I don't want to know your count,
No,
but I definitely want to know your health.
So I think like we're too old to be asking like
yeah,
body
doesn't
count.
matter.
Yeah.
Body count.
But if you meet somebody and they say, and you're getting to know that person for yourself, and somebody happens to ask, oh, who you talking to or who you dealing with, and you give that name.
It depends on who's giving you that look too.
Well,
like really,
Right.
stop hating.
And that's that whole
I used to
Can I-
talk to him in 5th
I
grade.
don't want
Shit.
I don't want you to be happy. You could have gave that person probably
Anybody, yes.
and they
Yeah.
don't want you to be happy. So you always have to monitor who you give your
Absolutely.
private life to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The
That's
source.
private life.
Consider the source.
Right. And people, a lot of times in small communities, a lot of times in Black communities, they tend to want to be all Palm Beach, all
Yes.
in your dating life.
Yes.
And it's almost as if they don't want to see you happy because they're not happy in their shit. And they don't want to see you happy. So they always got something negative to say about a person. One thing about I allow a person to show me who they are. I don't go by what other people tell me. Because one thing I've learned is a man can only treat you the way you allow him to treat you. You don't have those kind of boundaries up and those kind of safeguards for yourself, your heart, your life. You can't be mad at the player.
Yeah.
What's the old school thing? There it is. There it is.
So
Go ahead.
I was about to say, like everybody said, it definitely matters, but also a point that matters is your partner's security level. I've dealt with it on both ends, and insecurity about people's lifestyle and past always plays a part, especially if it's a lifestyle or a past that you haven't experienced or you unclear about. I'll say that, like, you may not have done certain things and you're unsure about, what that involves or where that person might have been to, things they've done. Everybody can't deal with that. Like, yeah, you'll have somebody, just because somebody experienced like having a threesome, they think like, oh, he too wild or she's too wild. So the security part in the individual has a lot to do with how it influences. And then, like you said, especially here, how people are, oh man, the talk is very heavy here. And then, but so the individual themselves have to take an accountability how that person deals with them. Because like you said, from every relationship, in every individual, somebody can behave totally different and respond to their partner totally different as well. So it plays a part. It shouldn't play as big a part as it does in a lot of people's relationships, but you have to learn how to like tune out the fuckery, so to speak, and learn how to manage your emotions and kind of be secure with yourself, with your current partner. And like you say, Ricky, it always got benefits to it. Hey, I want somebody who know their way around, man, without directions. Like, I ain't even got to tell her directions, but she know what to do. Yeah.
Me too. I'm with y'all on that one. I want a man to know how to please.
Y'all wait that too. Well, so then let me ask this for the ladies. Would it matter if the guy that you why you giving me the look? Yeah. Would you date a guy that had a gay experience?
No. Next.
No for 10 million, Alex. So
Next.
nothing.
But the past doesn't matter.
It does matter.
That's
That's something.
That's one of the ones that do matter.
That's non-negotiable.
The only reason why is because you desire something I can never give you.
But it was one time.
You don't one time that.
Can I say something?
What one
about
time
that?
is? What one time what? Be specific.
I wouldn't either. I'm just asking
Can
the
I say
question.
something about that?
Well, he tried one time with a man.
I hear a lot of people talk about that, and as a man, I be like, you having that experience one time, it was everything that led up to you having that experience. That's very questionable. Like, how you even got to that point, bro?
But do you think
I
it's-
heard
do you
Chuck
think it
say
was
that
really
in the
one time?
podcast when he was talking about, if it happened a couple times, and that don't mean, I'm like, no. The fact that it got to that point a couple times, like you were having text conversations and dates, you were going on a date with a man, bro.
Why is it
Like, that's how I'm looking at it.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate. So how is it that women can have escapades with other women and decide, oh no, I really like dick. That's why I want to be in the dick.
Because maybe it's just the sexual
just saying
parts, right?
That's one of those unfortunate double standards in the world. Like you
Could
say,
it-
a man
because of the
can be
equipment
with
used?
1,000 people and they might be like, oh, he a player. and a woman be with, 10 dudes, and it'll be like, oh, she ran through, and it's like, it's just one of them double standards in society, how people look at it.
You're right.
But I think it's because the equipment used, right? So what a woman does to another woman, a man can do.
True.
So what a man can do to another man, a woman can't do that.
You hit it right on the
That
head
is-
when you
that's
said
true.
he done experienced something that you can never give.
Yeah,
him.
so that's something you
that's
like.
just-
I mean, go.
I like that.
I mean, if you put a
Do
strap
it.
on, you might.
No, that's not. I don't think that's the same. I've never had a strap, but I don't think that's the same versus a warm something that's attached to the body versus,
Yeah.
So, and then it's not technically just the penis. They probably desire like the man's build. He's not having the breast and blah, blah, blah. So maybe
You said it's everything.
the masculinity in the room,
to
like
that
I don't
point,
have that.
like, yeah.
There's a social media influencer that I'm not even gonna say his name, but when I say this line, you'll know exactly who he is. Who is I guess he went to a church service, and the word was good, right? And he said, "I am delivered.
Oh,
I'm delivered."
yeah.
Okay. He still sounds very feminine when he speaks, but he does not like
The men's. That's what he said.
He said that
Dance.
he don't like the men.
Dance.
Like
No
men's
more.
no more.
And but now he'll post with different women, and I'm just like,
His homegirls. Go ahead.
gotta be.
But you just see his wedding ring, engagement ring, whatever that is.
Must
He got
have
going
that.
on. It's huge.
He might have.
It's on the left hand, left finger. So I don't know.
Did somebody
It's-
propose to him, or
It's a wedding band and then the engagement ring. Big, like you can't miss it because he be.
Dude, don't lock them down. Huh? That what you're saying?
I'm not sure. If
so like
anyone's attached
people
to
like
it, but
that? That's where it's just so public. It makes you wonder.
That don't make nobody wonder.
But we don't know if he's acting.
Nobody's
you
That
confused
is
about
true.
him.
he could be putting on a big front for the money.
He's the only person who's
So you never
confused
know.
about him. Nobody else isn't.
Yeah, so we never
We're
know.
we're all.
Every-
It
Everybody-
appears to be like he
yeah.
hasn't changed, but you never know. Because that could be a whole mask he put on for social media and to get that check.
It's
He probably be taking the girl down.
I can't even imagine him having a full-fledged relationship with a woman.
I think he had never had relations with a woman prior to him being delivered.
Next question for 500. Next question
Y'all don't
for
like that
500.
He's funny.
Nobody.
So we have talked about sexual compatibility. I think that was the time that you were unavailable, Kurt. But have you ever been in a relationship with someone? Well, Alex, can you go back? Thank you. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone who was sexually incompatible, and were you able to navigate through it in the relationship?
No. And that's a big part of the relationship. If we sexually incompatible, I pretty much know that from the start. So it's not going to even get to like a relationship status if we not compatible like that. So that's
So would
Well,
that be like what, 70%?
Nah, you just kind of know. Like if you done had, like if you dating somebody, casually dating, you done had some sexual relations with them, a few times. I mean, it shouldn't take more than a handful of times for you to know, like, yeah, I ain't gonna like this on a regular basis. Or, I mean, yeah, this future might be bright. But then these first 2 or 3 times, like this, I want to see what the 30th and the 40th time gonna be. But sexually, now that's just on the initial standpoint. Now, like progressing, like say you in a relationship with somebody, because things happen and they kind of don't match you in your sexual I guess I don't know the word I'm looking for,
Appetite.
but okay, we'll do that.
Experiences,
Sexual appetite,
or-
desire, experiences. Now that's a problem that can be worked on, especially if it was one way at the beginning and then it kind of faded off, or it wasn't and then it got stronger. That's part of the communication about it, because communicating about that type of stuff kind of get you to know where you at with the person, because you never know, it might have been something traumatic that happened in their life that caused them to pull back, and you may not know what's going on in somebody's head, because I've even been there when something happened to me that made me just kind of like fall back or fall away from that person in that manner. So I know it can happen, but as far as initially, if it ain't hitting on what it need to be hitting on, nah.
So if you have not had sex with them, you wouldn't even be in a relationship, period?
At all.
Oh.
No, ma'am.
Everybody?
Yeah.
We're shallow here.
We
We're shallow.
but is that really? I don't think that's really shallow. That's really important.
It's
You know,
important. I've already said
that's not saying he got a big belly, I'm not attracted to him. That's shallow.
That's a high number for me in a relationship.
But if that, oh girl,
So you've never been in a relationship with anybody where
yes,
and you
it didn't work.
today is
Obviously,
okay. Was there something that he could have done to fix it?
I think if he was honest about his situation, he had like a erectile dysfunction problem, so
That's
he
a
would
big
blame it on
problem.
me.
It's a huge problem.
Wait,
He's-
what?
Blame it on me.
What?
I'm gonna say something.
He blamed, but the red flag that I ignored from the beginning, he spoke about a previous relationship before me and said that, oh, my body wouldn't respond to her, blah, blah, blah. No, your
got a
body don't
problem.
respond to a lot of people. It ain't just her. So then when it happened to me, it was like you kind of blame me. But if you would have been honest about it, we could have did a whole lot of things. We could have changed your diet. We could have exercised, because he was an older gentleman.
What if he didn't want to?
It's no way I could have got married to this man.
I was very reactive in my 20s.
I wasn't.
And my reaction out of things, you got to give me some kind of shock to give me a react, because now I'm like,
Yeah, laid back, yeah.
I'm so laid back.
Laying the flow.
But to the point guys think I'm not even interested in them. And I could be because of my level. Because I'm at peace. I'm trying, but I'm
Going
stuck.
with the
I'm trying to
flow.
go
Why
in.
you stuck? It's
So I'm
fun.
trying to move in to get closer. Anyway, I'm just so relaxed and at peace with my life and where I'm at. Like nothing can come irritate that. I don't even allow it. I'll exit left so fast. If I'm
When you say exit left, you mean leave?
I will leave
Like completely
completely.
alone, never to return.
Never to. That's where I'm at.
So
Life too short.
I can't do it anymore.
when I was younger, though, I wouldn't say much. I think I used to like swallow whatever it is I had to say. Am I a crybaby? Absolutely.
Girl, me too.
Absolutely. And I might sit there but my tears are not always because you've hurt my feelings. My
I'ma kill
tears
you.
could be my anger because in my head I have killed you at least 5 or 10 times.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? But nobody sees that part. It's just,
Yeah, that was me.
now I think that I'm not always up. I don't like to argue. I would rather communication to be able to say, hey, this is how I'm feeling about this particular situation. Nothing burns me more than it to be a one-sided conversation.
Yeah.
But does that make us more emotional or reactive?
Well, I think, like we said, women operate off emotion, men operate off facts. And I think, sometimes what's important is knowing your partner. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you got to know when to You know what I'm saying? Tone it down and let it go, and maybe you need to know when to indulge in a discussion. You know, not an argument, but a discussion.
Right.
And I think when you know your partner more, you know, you can know when to engage in it, because sometimes it's not worth it. But, you know, sometimes it's important that you understand those nonverbal communications that go on. And, you know, you may notice some of those signs like, okay, she said no, but
Especially
her
in
communication style telling me something different,
Right.
you know.
Go
So it's important to understand that and know your partner.
Right.
And I think, you know, having a balance in the relationship, because it's important, but you have to know your partner. And some of that come with maturity in a relationship, because in the beginning, y'all probably was going back and forth over petty situations, but then at some point in the relationship, you know, somebody realized that it wasn't worth it at a certain point, and they just kind of let it ride, and then they start becoming a little bit more chill on certain things.
Did you guys hear about the and it was sad. I know the woman was 28, and I watched the live. I don't even know if it's still up. A young couple. Days before, she would post stuff about her husband that would say, you know, my husband is bisexual.
Oh no.
She posted, I guess he inboxed somebody saying, hey, sexy, I work at such and such. She posted the screenshot and said, cheater. This is, mind you, less than 2 weeks after their wedding anniversary.
Oh man.
He went to stay with his mom because they had been arguing. So he went to stay with his mom. He went home to get his stuff. And his wife is on live arguing.
Oh,
in
the
the
grandma
beginning-
that was cooking breakfast, that one?
And
Oh,
I
didn't
thought-
know she posted those screenshots.
So the lady that was holding the phone is her. It was her Facebook,
Yeah.
but it was the wife that went live, and the woman I thought was her mother instigating in the background.
That was his mom?
It was his.
It was his mom?
Mother.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
When
I
the
thought that was her
police
mom.
were when the police
I
were
thought that was her
talking,
mom.
they said, because even while the screen went blank, the police were saying it was his mother, and the guy said that was his mom, and the other officer said, "Yep," and you could hear the other officer say, "Whoa."
Well, she wanted to be famous.
Right.
No, because
I don't even
the
understand why
mother
she
was,
went
she was,
live.
everything that the mother would say, she would say the same
Yeah.
thing.
She was instigating.
Like,
And
she
the
was
reason that I
instigating it.
thought it was okay,
She shot
so
him.
she
Yes.
ended up. The man was trying to leave,
The
get his stuff, but that was his way of de-escalating. Was leaving. She got a gun, which she claims she didn't think anything was in it.
But before
And-
that, she was putting her hands on him.
Yeah.
Correct,
He
correct.
was like, stop.
He was
hitting me.
saying stop,
Yes.
but he was trying to leave, and he was on the phone with a relative, his uncle, and next thing you know, because somehow in a tussle you don't see the phone drops, but you hear the gunshot. And the first thing she says is, I don't want to go to jail.
I don't want to go to jail.
But she tells the police that they were fighting over the gun, but he was shot in the back of the head.
He was.
And then the kids were there.
Yeah, that was the most disturbing part. Yeah.
Me about the father, and she's saying he's dead, hun. You know, telling the kids
Your
that
daddy
I
dead?
have, I have no sympathy level for this broad.
What?
I know women. If you be woman enough to put your hands on a man, be woman enough to take a lick.
Yes.
I don't even think he hit her back.
I'm just saying.
No, in general, yeah.
Instances
Yeah.
we always want to beat up the man, but when men have to protect themselves at some point,
Absolutely.
and that was a protective moment when she had that gun. But had he hit her been opposite, we would have been dogging him out.
Correct.
Damn. I
So
didn't
she
know that.
deserves every piece of jail time they give her.
Especially because it seemed like it was no
And
remorse.
those kids was in that house.
All four. Now, the other things that are in play, she just had a baby.
Oh, like our poor
Like a newborn, yeah.
Yeah. So postpartum. So they not who is y'all?
I'm just saying. You said the other part is she just had a baby. I'm like,
I'm
okay.
just giving facts of what has transpired. I did not say that it's okay, but it seems though that this is not their first argument, but Communication obviously was
showing
not.
off for social media.
Yeah.
When she pulled that gun.
was.
Yes, they probably
We
had
didn't see the gun.
thousands.
But that whole thing was definitely for.
And she made a reference that she was going to kill him.
Yeah.
She referenced
She
that.
did.
arguments. Yes, she was showing off for the world to hear her. So, sis, you got your 15 minutes of fame. Now you're going to sit in jail for the rest of your life, and your kid's not going to have you. You are their father. So now you do it.
And it's a very unfortunate situation, but I think it kind of, it relates to the question, because that could have been prevented hadn't they had a better line of communication.
Yeah,
you know what I
especially
mean?
all those posts she made.
All those posts, or they could have
Right.
talked. They was married. They could have sat down and talked about this situation to come to some understanding,
And they weren't
whether it's
just
his
married.
lifestyle or what. They could have came to an understanding.
She was too
And,
irrational
space
to have
time
a
and
sit-down communication.
Yeah, absolutely. She
That
was.
works for people who are rational people. It does not work for irrational people.
So Tiffany, you don't. So you said I was giving her a pass.
Well, when you gave that,
Yeah,
the other side is she did just have a baby. Your tone and everything was almost as if you were giving her, like, okay, maybe her, she had postpartum depression. Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose.
Killed a man off that. She was aggressive.
But you hear stories about women who kill their kids.
Yes, that's different. She was aggressive. She was intentional because she was on live. She wanted everybody to know. I'm sorry, that there for me trumps. If she did have it, that trumps it for me.
But see, think about it. If she had the right people with
Around her.
you know what I mean, that situation could have been totally different.
Because the mom could have diffused that.
The mom could have really. Her mom played a big part in that situation because she had the power to really diffuse that situation, and she fueled it.
That's what it seemed like. That's their normal.
That's why I thought it was.
Exactly.
It was.
When you get like that, posting all your most personal,
that's
absolutely.
stuff,
But
it's like you passed the point.
yeah, but again, they could have had some maybe some family counseling, some marriage counseling because they was newly.
No, they had been married.
Well, they was
7
having an
years.
anniversary or something like that, right? Yeah. So at that point, if you having these issues or whatnot, they could have seeked out some counsel. And that would have been.
People do that.
Yeah.
But you know what though, Ricky, in our community though, because this was in Mississippi.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody from Mississippi, but I've been there. And no, it's different. It's different.
I drove.
No.
No, it is.
You got us.
Just from the drive, I was like, slavery still legal.
Yeah.
Shit, that was the plantation. It's
Right.
someone's working out
Yeah.
Mississippi is different. But in our community though, therapy and getting help, I don't even.
That's so taboo.
It is.
It really is.
It's almost like people, they're more accepting of premarital counseling than what about individual counseling before?
And individual counseling too. Yeah.
Individual counseling is a must.
It is a must, but in our community, people would rather go to premarital counseling, and I don't know if it's for the discount or what.
Yeah. Or religious things.
I think that not only do you need premarital counseling, but just individually, because we carry some stuff.
Oh yes.
I mean, we are definitely one of the races that carry a lot of weight due to, our ancestry history with America and how we got here and the things that transpired with us. Those are things that bleed on into each one of our generations down, no matter how far it is. It still bleeds down. And I'm not saying we're the only race that need therapy. But we definitely could use some of that. And Black people need to stop with the madness. I mean, truth be told, they want to talk to somebody. That's why they go talk to people in the barbershop or the hair salon. Or they really want to talk to somebody about their issues.
Yeah.
Just stop and go talk to somebody who is licensed enough to help navigate through those types of feelings.
And again, not every licensed professional is.
That's true.
You just have to find your fit.
Just like you have to, like you go to different hairstyles to find which one you like to find you a therapist that works.
But you know what, Tiffany, people usually do? They'll go to their first therapist and they'll let that first one be the end all be.
Yeah.
But you don't do that any other. But you don't do that in any other area of your life.
But people don't even think.
They don't know.
I think I went to like 3 or 4 therapists before I found one, and I'm just like, oh, this is it. And I don't know what, but I wasn't. The first one I went to, I'm like, Motherfucker just listen to me. That's it. They ain't give me no constructive criticism, feedback. The second one, it was just kind of like, it was just like winging it. And I think it was the third or fourth one. And I was just like, yeah, this it right here.
Right, but I'm saying you took the initiative to try, but we take the initiative to try in every area of our life. We continue different relationships, knowing we broken, we still jump in, have babies and all of that with people. We go to different weaveologists. Oh, I ain't like how she did my weed the last time. We go to this chick. Like, we do different things. We'll figure it out. But when it comes to that, why wouldn't you want to be mentally healthy as opposed to beautiful, a different makeup artist, different hair, or a different barber, or a different shoes?
It's definitely on the
Why
rise.
wouldn't you want to be beautiful in the inside?
Yeah, I think it's starting to turn, like, pivot. I think it's more
socially
accepted.
Yeah, like right now, I think it's more education about it. People taking it a little bit more serious. And like right now, like I'm trained to be, trained to, in mental health first aid. And it's like basically, just giving people tips on how to deal with people that they may encounter when dealing with the mental crisis issue, and it's just certain small things that you can do, because many of us run into these people every day, and the stigma of it, is in our community heavy, but it's important that we just kind of talk about it and let people know it's okay, because back in the day it's like, hey, I ain't crazy, or you know what I mean, or so we have all these different things
changing on that too, because like I said, back in the day it used to be like, oh, they just crazy. Now it's, oh, they need to talk to somebody.
Exactly.
They need help. You need to get you some couch time. Like they won't just pass it off and call people crazy.
Well, that's good. I'm happy about that.
But then you have some people that say, everybody saying that they're going to therapy is a fad, and it's like, pick a choose.
Because
a lot of things
some people do it. Some people do it like that. Like
with everything though.
Like, oh, babe, I'm in therapy now, babe.
No, that's nothing to be bragging about. Like it's a lot of hard work. Like,
listen,
it is.
Stop putting it right in your business. Everybody
you don't have to share that part. Yeah,
you don't have to share. That's your problem.
Unless you're having like a conversation encouraging someone else to do it.
That's correct.
But not just on your Facebook post. They like, oh, day 2 therapy. Like, what? That's not our business.
Yeah. I was on a different podcast. I was on a different podcast and actually shared my experience of going through therapy, because people, I tend to smile, contrary to Kert's belief. I do smile quite a bit. So when people see me, they're just like, oh, everything's good with Alexis.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
When it was time for me to go back to work in the office, oh God, yeah. It was almost like all the walls came tumbling down. And you think, well, Alexis, it's a job. Yeah, but it was a whole lot. When I went through the list, there was grief that I had not dealt with for years. Yep. Like, couldn't even say my sister Paula's name for a long time. In my mind, she was still in Texas, just living. Yeah. She was no longer here. That was a process for me, and it was just like loss after loss after loss after loss, within a short window of time. And because I felt like I had to be strong for everybody else, Right. So I got therapy for my daughter because she lost her granddaddy, but I didn't think about myself. And a lot of times I think that people tend to help others, but don't put the mask on for themselves. And so I had to take my own advice and put, what the airlines tell you.
Oh, yes. Put your
oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
But it was when I shared that story, it was to help somebody else, because people can, from the outside looking in, think, oh, everything's great. It ain't.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody's things.
Strong women, we tend to do that. Strong women tend to put that front on every day, put that lipstick on, put that face on, whether you wear makeup or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Metaphorically. And we walk out the door and we look like our lives are just perfect. And we go to work, we deal with the kids. But behind those closed doors, check on your strong friends.
Yeah.
Check on, because every time somebody has committed suicide, the first thing people say was,
I didn't see
that with
Never do. No.
Because those were your strong friends. and you don't check on your strong friends.
Yep.
People never do. Family doesn't, the family member that you'll never have to hear no really bad stories about. They don't come asking for no money. They don't need nothing from you. They think you don't need anybody or you don't need anything. And you really do. Those are the ones you need to check on the most.
Yeah, self-care is important, and that's why it's important for us to check on our close ones, our loved ones, because everybody dealing with something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's some people that experience some traumatic experiences, that really have an impact on their life. So, and some people could de-escalate a lot quicker or sooner than others, and some people can't deal. So it's important that we check on our friends, our loved ones, and like you say, the strong, sometimes they mask it really well.
Yeah.
So you got to really know how to sit down and talk to people, and make sure you're asking the right question, just to make sure that they are right. You know what I mean? And I know I do it with people that I'm involved with. Just doing a check-in, and I think it's important that we all check in with folks that
It's necessary. Back to that story about that young couple. What are some techniques? Because obviously what he was doing to de-escalate didn't really help.
He was trying.
He tried
to leave the situation, which is always a good way. The first step is always to try to walk away from the situation.
Leave the.
But what do you do when you have somebody that won't let you? And we talked about like hood culture last week, right? But if you see if you think about some of our most popular Black movies, Baby Boy. I know the scene that's in my head, Baby Boy, and Yvette's just cussing him out. He's walking away, but she's still, going out. So we see those types of things, but it happens. So what are some techniques or some ways to de-escalate before something gets out of control?
That type of stuff has to be taught. It has to be practiced. It has to almost be groomed into you, because once you get to a certain age, it's just kind of like, it's almost, I don't want to say hopeless, but some situations, like you say, the hardest thing in the world for people to do, especially in relationships, is to just leave and walk away. And if you wasn't trained and taught like that, like I think I said it on another show before with my parents, they was just one of them people like, hey, if y'all ain't happy, cut your losses and move on. Don't stick around for people blocking your light at the end of the tunnel. But my parents would say that, and then before they even said that, it was like, yo, always have your own for yourself. So I've never been in one of those positions where I had to stay here. I've always had family support. I remember telling my mother that I was gonna leave my wife, and my aunt overheard it in the background, and she hit me up on the other line. She was like, well, nephew, I got an extra room, extra bathroom. You can come here. Don't have to worry about nothing. That's be your reprieve, so you can go ahead and straighten out. And it's like, I was like 34 years old at the time. And I understood a lot of people don't have that. I had 4 or 5 other houses that I could have went to.
Right.
In the instant, some people are in situations because without him, the bills, I don't think I can manage on my own, or without her. I know these are stories that I've heard. I've heard guys say, like, I don't want to be on child support. And it's just like, they may have, say the chick got 3 or 4 kids and half of them his. And it's just like, if I leave, she put me on child support. I already know it, and I can't afford child support from 2 and all my own bills. So you have those situations where people then let themselves heal, and he'll leave her and go stay with her. And
house to house.
She's even more upset. So she's sticking him with support, and then the person who he moved in with, she already got her issues and her shit that she's dealing with from, and it's just a cyclical thing that's going on, and it's tough, man. Because you would think just leaving would be the biggest thing, and I'm listening to you all talk about that situation, and all I can say is, as soon as you saw what was hitting for when you went there, just leave. Some things are the easiest thing to get
to replace.
Yes,
let it cool off.
Just soon as you walked in the house and you seen they was already up and they was in the studio performing,
right?
I'm out.
You
Yeah.
turn, right? You turn.
Yeah.
I, for me at this point in life, it's just easier when you see those signs in the beginning. You know, don't stay in something 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't sit in that.
No.
When you see it at the beginning, know where you are in life and what you're willing to deal with.
That's why I don't give
It's
chances.
okay to walk away from it, even if you think it's like a good situation. But those little things like that eventually end up being the biggest
Yes.
problems in your relationship.
Yeah.
Pay attention to those early on, and then make the decision to say, I can't do this. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to continue going back and arguing with you.
I
You know
agree.
what? You said something earlier, and I just remember you said it under your breath when you were like the false facts with things, but it's some level of like truth to that because everybody holds different things at a different level, like emotionally. Like it could be something that you get irate about, and your partner be like, "That ain't that deep though."
Right.
But then on the flip side, it'd be something that drive him crazy, and he losing it. And then when you be like, "Babe, you really ODing on it." So we need to do a better job at understanding, like you say, how we coming in, the stuff that we don't like right from the start. Don't be liking you for who you are and how you dress, handle, hang out, and then when you in there, it's just like all of that shit irritates you.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
Lord.
Like that's why you was at it.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're irritated.
Right.
And women to do the same thing. Don't be
That's
super attracted to a guy and then mad because somebody else is super attracted to him too. You know, it's like, I've experienced that.
Yeah.
She liking your poster. You know her. Where you
Right.
know her from? And I'm like, that's social media.
Right.
So
And it's like,
Right.
I don't know
with that,
5,000 people. They be like, I know
Yes.
about,
but the ones that you,
13.
which women have to realize too in that, like, those are the ones that's out in the open. You don't got to worry about those. What's the ones that's texting him like, I saw you post that thing, you know?
Yeah.
Versus
The ones
like you
that's
worry
not
about
on social
you
media.
Right.
No.
or the ones that's like screenshotting and texting him like, I saw you,
Yeah.
People gotta
versus
do
the
that.
heart.
Send in the post inbox.
Listen,
Yes.
I just say,
in the DM,
know
go down
who
in
you
the
are,
DM.
know what you want to deal with in life, and choose what you want to deal with, as opposed to dealing with something because he's sexy, he got money, he got this, or vice versa. She fine, she got a big booty, all of that. Know what you want to deal with.
It's
I'm
always
sorry.
It's a lane
revealed
for
in the end.
everybody.
It's a lane for
Yeah,
everybody.
that's a real
Just
thing.
because
That's
I don't
a
want to
thing.
deal with that,
Yeah.
some
Somebody
other
will.
woman may want to deal
love
with
it.
that.
I think that's kind of
And
like
don't be mad at it.
Yeah.
That I
everybody
chose
has
something.
everybody has a pain tolerance, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Same thing. I
Right.
think people have an emotional tolerance.
That's right.
Hopefully, nobody has a physical tolerance because that's never okay.
Yeah.
No, never.
But I think people have a tolerance based upon their experiences, based upon how they see themselves. That what might be a non-negotiable for me, Tiffany might be like, I could deal with that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
But
know.
then people get mad though. I hate when
Y'all
men
don't get
mad at me
that.
when I choose not to. They get an attitude, and then I'm here in the barbershop talking.
So they
about
become emotional.
Right in the barbershop.
They become emotional. Guys, do y'all get emotional?
I didn't want to holler.
What do you
I
mean,
didn't wanna
though?
move forward.
You don't get emotional
I'm not an emotional person.
at all?
Wait, what?
I'm saying I'm not an emotional person.
Reserved.
What do you mean by
Reserved,
that?
Do you know
I
how to
don't-
show your emotions when needed?
Usually I have a poker face, you know what I mean? So something could bother me and
So
I
that
just
could
may
be
be like,
irritating for a
yeah,
while.
exactly. And I'm very sarcastic too. So so I may say something,
Well, that's that
so
Aquarius.
I
They
usually
like to
don't get
debate all the damn
mad,
time. And
That
they're so
is the
analytical.
Aquarius,
Yeah.
That's annoying for a
That
water
is
sign.
Aquarius, man. Yeah.
Because it's like, I want to talk about the stars and the planets, and you just like, well, show me it in the book. Where's the facts?
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm
And they are very sarcastic.
Yeah, I'm very sarcastic.
Not in the way I think a lot of women would prefer. Like I can see a moving or touching post on Instagram and get teary eyed or something. Like I just seen 2 kids wrestling and one of them was handicapped and the other
yes,
little boy let
I
this
saw that
dude
one.
handle- and now like my eyes get watery.
Yeah, I'm like, I know.
But it could be, but because when I was younger in relationships, I dated the right and the wrong person early. And I was like 22. And I remember having a friend of mine when I was a little younger. He was a little older, about 3 years older. And he was just like,
hey man, you gotta break down and cry in front of them sometimes. That's how you get your energy in an argument. And I'm 19 listening to my 22-year-old homeboy say that. He like, hey, boy, they love me.
Oh my God.
Like, so hold on. I'm in my first adult relationship. I'm about 22. I tried. And the chick, she was just like, let me know when you finish.
That's right.
And I was like, that shit ain't working. But she was there. So after dealing with her, it was like, you know, you trying shit.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, that I can't do it. But on the flip side, when people did it to me, I'm just looking at them like, yo, that's just a scene from a movie. Yeah. You ain't gonna bring me down to your level. I'm gonna wait till you finish. Let me know when you're ready to talk, babe. Yeah. And so I got molded and shaped early. So it was like at 19, I'm doing something that somebody told me I should do. And then by 23, 24, I'm just like, yeah, that shit don't work. Yeah.
That's so funny.
It was so funny. She even called me. This was years later when she was dealing with somebody. She was like, can you believe what he did? He tried to do the cry thing. We both fell out laughing. Like, you better tell him something. Don't work.
Hell no.
Can we get a demonstration so we can give you Oscar? And the Oscar goes to.
Oh, I gotta say that for this role I'm auditioning for. Oh, okay. But I was good with it, man. I'm breaking down. I'm trying to. You love me like
no,
you
like,
say
y'all like,
you
get
do.
your ass out of here.
Oh, well, speaking of that. Speaking of.
What?
That's the next question that's up for discussion.
What?
Okay.
What?
Because I hear this word all the time, right?
Give a
Like,
definition.
what the heck is that? Gaslighting. Right? What is it? How does it manifest in romantic relationships?
All the time.
How? Well, what do you define it as?
When someone in a relationship tries to make it seem like you're the problem or it was your fault in every way, and it was obvious it was them, but they deflected to give it to you.
Yes.
Like, that's gaslighting.
And taking no responsibility.
No responsibility.
Y'all know I had to look it up, right?
They would be like, I
And
tripped on the rug,
that's
and
a
it's your fault 'cause the
common
rug was
term now.
there.
People are using that with narcissistic.
Yeah.
It's used all the time.
Yeah.
I've never had to use it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, what the? There's even I think there was even a show.
What's the exact definition of it? If you don't
So it's basically psychological manipulation.
That's right.
So when you said, if you love me or whatever, that was a form of gaslighting.
Yeah,
And
you
I
don't love me like you say.
Yeah.
You love me, that type of thing.
Yeah. Or, if somebody's telling you how they feel and you make it seem as though that ain't even accurate. That's not,
Right.
the whole deflection type.
In my day, gaslighting was manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, they've given it a whole new manipulation,
did.
a whole new word. That's called manipulating the situation, and it's what it is.
I don't gaslight at all.
You just
Anymore.
I don't gaslight at all.
From that one time of crying, that was it.
Yeah, it's I can't even explain it as a man when you thinking you like doing the shit right, like you being tall. And I remember saying to her, I was like, it was easy for me being a man on my own. I had to learn how to be a man in a relationship. That was different. And like I said, that was my first real adult relationship. We was like 22 going on 23, and we were both learning from each other, but her experiences had already hardened her shell. She was already a certain type of way.
Was she older?
No, we're the same age. Our birthday's a month apart. And she was Leo though. And but
Sounds like a good person.
yeah, so but you know what's so crazy though? Like me and her always had a good friendship afterwards. And she taught me a lot, and she taught me how to harden up my shell and just get shit done, so to speak. Because she was one of them just straight shooters. She wouldn't. Some people want to be lied to. I didn't have the I guess the luxury of knowing whether I wanted to be lied to or not from a woman, because the people that I dealt with early on in life, they were straight shooters. So I didn't get lied to about their past, their dealings, how they deal. Some of the shit that I witnessed and saw is just like,
yo, that shit really happened, and I just kind of like got through it, type of thing. And it ain't like really messed me up as far as relationships. It was just one of the things like, yo, that shit can happen. So know that, just know that.
A power trip. Yeah. Anybody dealt with manipulation or gaslighting?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of a situation. I know sometimes women be like, you gonna let 5 minutes mess up our relationship? I'm like, no, I ain't let 5 minutes. You let 5 minutes mess up the relationship. Because who letting it mess it up? You or the person who did it?
Does your sarcasm that kicks in? Is that a form of gaslighting?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think. Is that's sarcasm, but is that gaslighting?
Gaslight.
It can.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think.
Aquarius man,
Yeah.
and Aquarius are good. Their sarcasm is a form of the term gaslighting.
So that's what it is. That's what I thought about. So, but no, I try not to do it. Usually, I try to be comical, and So I don't know. I'm not a gaslighter.
Not a gaslighter.
No. I don't. At least I don't think that.
You know what? I learned that throwing yourself to the mercy of the courts. I learned how to do that early. So I don't know if it's gaslighting or manipulation, but I honestly be feeling like that because I'll take responsibility for a lot of things, especially when I understood it ahead of time. So I won't blame people to be like, that was my fault because I saw that, I understood that, and I still did not handle it in the right manner. So that kind of de-escalates people sometimes when they want to be mad and be like, you know what, babe?
Agree.
You're absolutely right. I could have handled that totally different. But in my mind, I'm just like, I should have handled it different.
So it's true for a statement.
Yeah.
Because some guys say that they don't be believed. They just like, let me just shut you
I'll be
up.
on some stuff like, I'm not way smarter than her. I'm way sharper than that to even let that get me to that point. So it's like, I'll be taking responsibility for myself, but self-checking at the same time. It's not like, oh, I should have did better because I'm smarter than her. It's like, I should have did better because I know better.
Right.
And I don't like how that made me feel in my actions. I self-check my actions. I'm like,
me too.
Like how I looked after that or how I felt. I shouldn't even felt the way I felt about it.
Right.
I do that all the time too. I self-check first. That's when I know you had me fucked up.
Especially if I say something. I can say something that be like, oh man.
I don't empathy in already.
At least you.
Yeah.
No,
That's the first thing I do, especially in like one-off situations or even in relationships after we break up. I go within first.
Yeah.
What did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do to attract this? What were my actions in this, and what I need to change for the next person?
Exactly.
That's why I have such long periods in between relationships because I'm doing that work. Because
mine is.
so and I also put my feet in everyone's shoes too. So that's how I know when I cut you off. I was in your shoes, and I know you had me real fucked up, and I never did that to nobody. So that's why I'm never talking to you again. I'm never dealing with you again because it's right and wrong.
That's right. That's my thing. That's why I don't backtrack. I tell her I don't date backwards because I know when I was with you, I gave you everything.
Yep.
And there's no need for me to come back.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm sorry that you may have figured it out and gotten it together. I'm happy for you, but give that to another woman.
Yes. And you're not willing to take that chance.
But I'm like you. I take long pauses. I do several. If I need to apologize, I will apologize. I work on me on a daily.
Yep.
And that is why I say I'm at a space and place in my life that you don't bring all the extra.
I think once certain lines have crossed,
I can't.
Speaking of going back,
it's always
I can't go back.
It's always reciprocal.
even if you take somebody back, there's once certain lines have crossed,
it's no coming back.
There's no coming back, and you cannot unless now you have people that have married, like have been married, divorced, and okay, we're getting married again.
I don't get that.
I'm not doing that.
Unless I've seen people get back together where it was like, it was good separation. It wasn't no things that happened. Maybe it was just time or something. I've never experienced that, but I've seen it where it is successful the second time around.
I'm done.
Well, I think
But
too.
none of my relationships have ended like that. It's always because something's happened.
But I still don't want to go backwards.
It's
But
just
usually-
something
That
that
was the progression of moving forward.
yes, and it's,
You know what I
some,
mean?
it's the thing that
And-
made you leave.
And I
though.
also believe that time, like I said, I'm huge on time. I'm huge on time. I can't get time back.
Yeah.
And I've already wasted time on you. So now I can't get that time I've given you back. So I'm not going backwards again. I'm not doing that. And I'm sorry, we can be the best of friends after that, but I'm not going backwards.
One thing I don't ever say with people is I don't use that term, I wasted time. Because I always look at it like a lesson I learned. It was an experience,
Right.
whether good or bad.
True.
And I always take something. I've never dealt with
You're right.
somebody in a relationship setting where I felt like I didn't learn anything, whether it was about myself or just about women in general or that person in particular. And what you said about going back and progressing, I thought about the situation with my ex-wife. The person she was dating before me, soon as I was out of the picture, he came back and he came back strong. It was just like, I messed up. I know I did. So on and so forth. Married her, moved her, bought a house. And last I known or heard, like, I hadn't talked to her in a couple of years, but they were doing awesome. Now, I don't know all the intricacies of their relationship, but as far as backtracking, he backtracked and she backtracked and he progressed it real fast because they was together like 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
he-
always exceptions to the
Right.
rule.
he was
Right.
just like,
But he came correct.
Yeah, he
He
came.
came with the wedding ring.
Well,
Look,
Hey,
this
I
is,
gave him
I
a slow
got it.
clap. I said,
Right.
"Well, that was
But most
Yeah.
men don't do it like that.
Yeah.
Most men don't do
It's
it.
a
They
rare
want
case,
to come
yeah.
back and think
Nah,
they
he
can
did
pick
what
up
he was supposed to
exactly
do.
where
Yeah.
he left
It's a
off
rare
and
case,
have
yeah.
not cleaned up any errors and apologized
Yeah.
for
He
anything.
changed
or-
that name. He said, well, you
He
want me
came
to
back
piece of
correct.
mail
And that's my thing. Come back correct.
Change
Show
that
up right.
name, that address. I was like,
Yeah.
I gave that nigga slow clap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
I mean,
the second time around.
Show up correct then.
Yeah, the second time around, because the first time he learned her, and the second time around he already knew.
He knew.
You know what I mean? Yeah,
was
and
just
he
like,
knew.
Yeah, you had your little 5-year
I-
break.
that happens
But you-
sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Times that I think I've only done that twice.
With
Yeah.
that.
Why you
And
like
I
that?
said, because they came and was like, they were saying all the right
different,
things.
yeah.
And I'm like, well, let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It lasted a week. I was like, yeah, no.
I've done that when I was
See?
younger.
So I can't. And
I've
would
done
beat-
that
And
younger, too.
that would beat. I would beat myself up.
Yeah.
That's my whole fear.
Oh.
That I say, okay, come on back, and then I'm like,
Tiffany.
But
Yeah.
see,
7
but
days.
listen, the thing is though,
Why did I
if
even
you
put myself
if
in
you
that?
allowed yourself to be in that situation, it had to be something new that you felt that it was worthy of that person coming
Well,
back.
Well, sometimes it could be a
Absolutely,
little
but
ounce or something. Just
you
not-
know, like
Don't
maybe,
work
you know
on
what I
ounces.
mean?
Yeah, it got to be
But the
something
only reason
huge.
why I
something.
wouldn't go back because I've done it in my past and it did not work.
But
So
it
that-
had to be something huge, right?
Not really. It
Like
was just,
for an
it's
example, you
being
would you
comfortable. I was
gave
young.
Can't Get Right a second chance?
If what?
Would you have given Can't Get Right a second chance?
Absolutely not.
Exactly, because there was nothing there.
Yeah.
But if it was something
But
new,
sometimes like
you
a
may
little
have.
love, there's a little attraction. So when I was younger, I took a
What
ex
if it's
back,
the sex?
but now
Sometimes it just be the sex.
I wouldn't
Yeah.
dare do that now.
I'm just saying it could have been that situation.
I've never had an old relationship that I desired back. And that was kind of like, once it was over, it's like I felt like I had exhausted everything.
because they weren't
Even
the right
with,
one.
That too,
Exactly.
because like remember when we had that back and forth, Tiffany, on the other episode, and I was talking about the things that I know now with relationships. Even if I went back and implemented them, they were still in the same way because the
was a
things
person.
that I knew I could have been better at, those weren't the shortcomings of the relationships. It was the clashing of the mentalities at the time, and some of the mentalities like. Yeah, I still think and feel like that because I didn't really see anything wrong with, how I was trying to handle, and it wasn't like a detrimental thing that how I was going about. Like I literally had a problem with somebody. They thought we had the perfect relationship just because they were monogamous. And I'm just like, never mind, you the most disloyal person.
Wow.
And untrustworthy, and I see you lie to other people, and I have to check you about lying to other people, and you didn't keep anything personal between us. You would go to work and tell everybody, and it's just like they literally thought that it was a problem because I tried to regulate how they carried with their money because they were so free flowing with money, and I'm just like, you it's gonna depart from you soon. And it's just like fast forward. Yeah, it took, a decade, but fast forward, and now that person is nowhere financially where they were, when we were together. And it's just like, this is all the stuff that I used to tell her about. But that was her problem with me, because I didn't want her to spend her money how she saw fit, and it was just really wasteful.
Bossy.
Huh?
You're bossy.
I wasn't bossy. It
I'm
was
just
more so
messing with
like, yeah, we don't need a new car when we got 3 of them already.
Right.
Like,
But like you were saying with your ex-wife or whoever there was a 5-year gap or whatever, and he went back and he acknowledged that he messed up. A lot of times, if one, it depends on the mentality.
Yeah.
But 2, once you know that, yeah, this problem was me, not them.
Right.
and he was a lot older too, because she was 7 years older than me, and he was like 6 or 7 years older than her. So he was at that point like, yeah, nah. He was,
So it was
But
her
it takes
fault
an
that
enough-
they broke up.
that they broke up. No, the first, it was him. He was new to the city of Palm Beach from up north, and Palm Beach was getting the best of him.
Yeah.
So he was at you. He was lit. But I guess he realized that
Hoping.
ain't no love for an old head. Like she probably like almost 55 right now. But and this was probably when he was like mid 40, like early 40s. He start touching that money different and hanging out, new climate type of thing. So, but he came back. He did what he was supposed to do. I gave him a slow
But that
clap.
takes some acknowledgement.
That takes some acknowledgement.
Yeah.
You know,
Most men
some
aren't-
self-work.
aren't doing that. And I guess that's probably why I'm like, I would never, because, that kind of work ethic. I love a good work ethic.
and the way I leave, it's not dramatic.
No.
It's snobbish, right? That's what you get.
I just leave.
Pack my things and
Pack my
leave
things.
quietly.
Have my things. My hands are together.
No, I'm good.
It's
I have no problem explaining.
done. You know.
Yeah, I have no problem with telling a man, this ain't working for me.
It don't even have to be dramatic.
No, it's not. I'm very calm about it.
I've done explanations, and sometimes and every time, that's not to say that people understand your explanation either when you give it.
Yeah.
You can be giving your explanation, they be like, so what you mad about?
I try to convince you.
Yeah.
Stay like, no.
Again, that goes back to mentality.
Realize
That goes back to
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah. So, yeah, definitely.
I don't have any more questions, guys. That's it.
I'm sorry.